today. Is this not why you are here?
Shalom. Shalom. Kol Halayim, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Wahara. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well over the flock. Shalom and salutation to all you brothers out here that's pushing the words of truth and sincerity. And shalom to our Akim and the Aqua. Just paying attention. Sky the Israelites. All right, the elect. Shalom. This is Matthew 3:8. Bring forth, therefore, fruits, meet for repentance. And this is what John the Baptist was telling some of the wicked Pharisees that had walked upon him. Wicked Sadducees and Pharisees while he was preaching. John the Baptist's role was to prepare the way for Yahushua. Everything is in preparation for that marriage. That's what it's likened unto. When Yahushua comes back, his elect are going to be caught up in the air with him to the marriage. There's parables that's talking about bid ye to the marriage. So just like a regular marriage, not everybody gets a card, not everybody gets a pass, but yet and still the seats need to be filled. And as the parable goes, the people who will offer the seat first, which pertain to the Jews as the circumcision, they didn't fill the seats, They didn't turn at the coming of the Lord or the message of Yahushua. Even though the way was being prepared, a lot of them didn't turn at it. So then they started offering seats to some of the just the people outside who weren't offered the seats at first, which ended up being the Israelite foreigner Gentiles, the ones that are still in the Gentile state of mind. And they began to fill up those seats of the marriage. So this is all parabolic, speaking of who the Lord's elect are. They don't have to look a certain way, but they are going to be presented before the bridegroom and bid into the marriage all the same way. Now when it comes to fruits, in Matthew 3:7, John says, but when he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees come to his baptism, he said unto them, O generation of vipers, who hath warned you to flee from the wrath to come? So he's asking them, you snakes, right? Who warned you of the wrath to come? And that's what we always continually speak about as brothers. We're turning the sheep back to the pasture, the good pasture where they can graze and be fed. Brothers are always consistent about the wrath to come of the Heavenly Father, the righteous indignation. One of those wraths to come ought to be fulfilled, according to Revelation 14, where those who took the mark of the beast are going to receive the wrath of the Lord's fiery indignation, poured out without mixture. So a lot of devastation to come. Is a time of Jacob's trouble. Daniel's tell you that this time shall be like no other time before. All right, it's not comparable because it's that drastic. When you go into the book of Revelations, the 12th chapter, very briefly, it tells you about in the 12th verse, it says, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath. So we understand that devil is Esau, Edom, based upon his the lineage of the Edomites and how they were pronounced judgment, the only nation that was pronounced the judgment that they would not live past a certain time. The Most High would take them off of the earth completely and entirely. But they also are the people who are ruling today. All right, NATO, EU, that's the beast in the book of Revelations. America is that dragon. The first beast is the Roman Empire. So all roads point to Edom and Rome. All roads lead back to Rome is the saying. But it tells you that the devil is come down unto you having great wrath because he knows that he have but a short time. So it's all time sensitive for you to turn back to the Lord, because the devil is not going to wait upon you. When the Most High tells the angels, his 4 angels, to hold back the 4 winds of heaven, then the blast and the destruction is going to come upon this earth, and these nations are going to start fighting like there's no tomorrow, because they have a short time to do what? A short time to crown their enterprise with with success. It all goes back to the origin story of the Illuminati and how Esau wants to rule the world through a new world order. Centralized banks, centralized currency, centralized control of the population, and most importantly, the mandate in RFID micro C-HIP to be pushed on the populace of the world, both small and great, rich and poor, equals of all, to receive that mark. So you can't buy or sell without it. These are part of the great wrath that he's coming down with, and knowing that he has a short time. If he felt like he was really going to rule forever, he can gradualize this thing up until 200 years from now. But more than likely, as you can see in the news and how it's being reported, and it must be spoken amongst Wall Street and spoken amongst the elites of the world and spoken amongst the senators, because Alabama just passed, I think it was the third state to pass a law that outlaws or restricts companies from micro C-hipping their employees, mandating that. So if the senators have time enough to try to pass these laws to prevent that from happening, what kind of conversations are going on amongst senators? All right, the same conversation that was going on amongst John Roberts and Joe Biden back when he was being the decision for him to be Chief Justice was going down. When Joe Biden asked John Roberts, you will vote on a mandate to implement an implantable chip. It's hard to say C-HIP all the time, but we do it anyway. This is the world we live in. It's censorized. Your phone, before you even hit YouTube, will censor certain things for you. So we're coming down to a time where Amos 8:11 is going to come to pass, a famine of hearing the word. My last video, I narrated on that. I was making certain points about Mary having children at a young age, being married at a young age, and automatically everything froze up. Well, the sound went out. So the devil is going to come down unto you, having great wrath. When you go into the great wrath, in the interlinear, in the Greek, there's a word specifically for wrath. And mega is the word for great, but thymos is the word for wrath. And then you read it, it's biblical usage. It says passion, angry heat, anger, forthwith, a boiling up or subsiding again, and soon subsiding again. I mean, the type of boiling, raging, lunatic anger is what's coming. It says, which order the wine of passion and flaming wine, which either drives the drinker mad or kills him with its strength. Indignation, fierceness. It says passion as if breathing hard. You ever seen somebody get so angry they start breathing hard? Well, the scriptures go into, it goes into that a little further as you continue to read. And it gives you a few examples. It says, right? It says about anger, to be in a passion. Okay, to be in a passion. And then it goes down to impulses and outbursts of anger. So think of Esau. When you think of these definitions, think of Esau in the time of Jacob's trouble. Now that the scriptures that they cite are 2 Maccabees 4:25, which I'm gonna read real quick. 2 Maccabees 4:25, and I'll read it in the RSVA. Matter of fact, the GNTA version. 2 Maccabees 4:25 says, as a result, Menelaus returned to Jerusalem with papers from the king confirming him as high priest, but he possessed no other qualifications. He had the temper of a cruel tyrant and could be as fierce as a wild animal. So think of Esau. This is the same language that's used to reference Revelations 12 and 12 concerning his anger. All right, his great wrath. He's referenced similar to Menelaus, who had a temper of a cruel tyrant and could be as fierce as a wild animal. So Esau is going to be like a wild, fierce animal very soon. It also gives verse 38. Verse 38 in that same chapter, 2 Maccabees 4 and 38. Starting at 37. Therefore Antiochus was grieved at heart and filled with pity, and wept because of the moderation and good conduct of the deceased. And inflamed with anger, he immediately stripped off the purple robe of Andronicus, tore off his garments, and led him about the whole city to that very place he had committed the outrage against Onias, and there he dispatched the bloodthirsty fellow. The Lord thus repaid him with the punishment he deserved. So as you can see, a man becoming enraged enough and inflamed with enough anger to requite the justice of a murderer right there and then on the scene. All right. This is the same type of anger and great wrath that Esau Edom is going to expose himself to have. And we know of that. So there will be guillotines, right? Brothers are bringing out Revelations 20, where it says those who didn't take the MOTB. One more verse before I bring that out. I have enough time. 2 Maccabees 9 and 7. Maccabees shows a lot of that type of anger and great wrath that Esau is going to reportedly have in these end times. This is in the USSC CB version, all right? Verse 7, I believe. All right, so this says, I'm going to start at 5. This is dealing with Nicanor and Timothy. So the all-seeing Lord, the power of Israel, struck him down with an incurable, invisible blow. This is dealing with Antiochus Epiphanes, how he died. For scarcely he had uttered those words when he was seized by excruciating pains in his bowels and sharp internal torment. A fit punishment for him who had tortured the bowels of others with many barbarous torments. Far from giving up his insolence, he was all the more filled with arrogance. Breathing fire in his rage against the Jews, he gave orders to drive even faster. So even though this man is in sharp bowel torment, he's still in his arrogance, filled with rage, breathing fire in his rage, it says, all right, against the Jews. Meaning he was that angry that he gave orders to drive even faster. It says, as a result, he hurtled from the speeding chariot, and every part of his body was racked by the violent fall. We understand that Antiochus never made it back to Jerusalem, and he died there after writing letters as to who was going to rule after him. But you can see what happens when a man is filled with the fire of rage against the people. And this is all going back to how in Revelations 12, the usage of the word thymos, which is wrath, Esau having a great wrath because he knows that he had but a short time. So it's the timing that he knows is short. Him seeing chariots, him seeing a nation start to get the upper hands who are allied with the beast. As far as warfare and instruments of death with North Korea and their nuclear arsenal. He's seeing Russia join with China. These are things that he can't procure safety. So they have to pass symbolically, like just give up and give into the New World Order. Every Edomite who tried to have some type of sovereignty away from a world government is going to have to give in to that beast. The beast's wishes are just going to be right about to be fulfilled. The scripture in Joel tells you, as he was about to fill his belly, but then sudden destruction coming. All right. While he's about to feed, he shall be in straits. And this is the time frame that we're in, because it all leads back to him understanding now that he doesn't have a long time to rule. And the urgency to get everybody with the, you know, with the incision, with the cut, is his role in trying to defeat the Lord and defeat the Lord's will on earth and dispel it. This is Revelations 20 and 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. So these men, all right, who it's going to refer to, are going to be ruling and given authority to judge. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua. Right? When you go into that word witness in the Greek, the word for witness is martyria, which means martyr. Okay?
G3141. Martyria. Martyria.
Okay. So ultimately the martyrs are witnesses of Yahushua. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, and for the word of Yahushua, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither received his mark upon his forehead or in his hands, or they lived and reigned with Yahushua 1,000 years. So we understand, according to 2 Thessalonians, that those that die in Yahushua shall be taken up first before those that are living when he returns. And so the guillotines talk that is going on between Trump and some of his supporters is more proof that the guillotine will be back, and those who will be beheaded are mainly the saints who didn't take the MOTB. All right. And chose not to worship the beast in his image. I brought this out. This video is edifying. Till next time, shalom.